Go to TAPgiles.com to learn dreams, engage my services, and support the channel. So as the current jam is crafty collectibles, I thought I'd have a look at making a collectible from scratch, or from a sculpt, and just adding logic to it, which is the kind of tricky part people might have trouble with. So here's a coin, and we want to make it collectible and stuff. So I'm going to do the very basics first and then develop it as we go. First I'll tweak it to make it non-collidable, because we don't want to bump into it as we're running around. We'll need a chip. I'm going to turn on the grid and add a chip with this coin. And so you could just surface snap this onto it, but it's kind of, as you saw, it's a little bit, because the surface isn't flat, it can kind of be stuck to an edge or something like that. And I just like to have them grouped instead of surface snapped anyway, but it will kind of look the same. And what you could do is move this chip down to indicate kind of where the ground should be, and then when you copy this around the place, then you know they're all the same height and it's all nice and uniform. Let's open this chip and put it over there. So we want this to disappear when the player runs into it. So in here we want to kind of communicate with this, or communicate with this, like when they're near to each other. So the classic way is to add a trigger zone in here, and now this has a sphere. So when the possessed controller sensor, so this has a possessed controller sensor, so when that enters this zone, it will send a signal from detected, like that, and we can use that to trigger stuff. So if I just grab the gizmo, that little dot, and I can move it around, and if I press triangle, that'll snap it to the grid point, like that, and then I can put it exactly in the same spot as the coin, and then just drag the outside with R2 to make it a bit smaller. Yeah, and then I can just try that out. So walk into it and nothing's happening, but if I use test mode, we can kind of visualize what this is doing. So I'll tweak that and have that on the screen, and then go to test mode and possess the puppet, and then as I walk into that zone, you can see down here it's sending a signal that it's detected the character. So what do we want to happen? We want to destroy this coin. So we can destroy like that. So that destroys the coin, but it won't work yet because, if I just show you it not working, so it's lighting up and it's powering that destroyer, but that destroyer doesn't know what to destroy. So so if this chip was surface snapped onto it, it would automatically be linked up to it. Or you can tweak the destroyer and use affected objects, and this is just a wire that you plug into stuff. So if I plug this into here, then it will destroy that when I walk into this zone. So bink, and it disappeared. But we don't want that to be destroyed, so we'll wire it into this. So something to be careful of here is if we're scoped in, and if I do this you can only see what I'm scoped into. So if we wire it in now, then this coin will disappear, but the group and the chip and the logic will still be there. So then if I use test mode and walk into it, the coin disappeared and the destroyer just removed itself as well, but the chip and everything is still there and we don't actually need it to be there. So it's better to be outside of the group, so you can grab the whole group and then affected objects and link that to the group itself. So now the whole thing will get destroyed. So just mode again, and the whole thing disappears, including the chip. So that's good. So we want this to add to our score so that it actually is worth something. So let's add a score gadget over here, like that. And then we'll want to modify this score. We want to add to it every time we pick this up. So let's have a score modifier and just power it when we get into that zone. And then we want to add 1 to it. So let's type in a 1. And now when we go into it, it will trigger this. That will add 1 to this. And we can go and display that in a number displayer. Just wire that into the number range. And I'll just move that up here. And then when we go into it, it adds 1. And this, the good thing with these modifiers is you can have as many of these as you want, and you don't have to wire them all up into a counter or something like that. It just all wirelessly adds to the score. And job done. And there's more about scores and stuff coming later in the Collectables series, so look out for that. Thanks for watching. I hope you learned something interesting. Go to patreon.com/TAPgiles to learn something new every day.